Okay, so we've sent the client the illustration, and he's basically said just to make the legs a bit longer because the scale's a little bit out. So let's go ahead and mask it and move these legs down. So what I'm going to do first of all is not use topological. I'm just going to use the masking tool, come over here and pick the rectangle, and now I'm going to click up here, drag and hold, and I'm just going to do it below the knee. Then I'm going to click in the masking to soften it. Then I'm going to go into the move tool. I'm going to select a point just here, drag straight down, and I'm going to move the leg down, not too much because that's where the knee is. Now I'm going to come back in and I'm going to select just this kind of calf area here. I'm going to click once to soften it, and I'm going to use the move tool again. This time I'm going to move this down here. I'll just move this up so it's a bit more visible. I'm going to drag that down. Already that's kind of looking better. And now I'm just going to take the thigh area and also reduce that down. So I'm going to come back into draw. I'm going to use the rectangle to deselect. I'm going to drag it up to there. Click once or twice to soften it. Click off to invert it. Go back into the move tool. Again, move our point up to the base of the leg there, the base of the transpose. I'm going to breathe this down, and I'm going to drag this a bit longer as well. I'll just give it a quick eyeball. Yeah, that looks much better. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Just going to drag off there, go back into draw mode, and now we're ready to mask the areas to create the shells. Now there's a method for extracting. We can use the extraction tool, we can mask an area, and then we can use extract to lift part of the geometry and add a thickness to it to create a shell. Well, we've got a problem with this method though, because it needs to be part of this character. Now of course we could merge the subtools together, because each time you extract it creates it as a new subtool, but and then retopologize that. That's one way of doing it, but because of that we might as well just mask it and extrude directly on top of the model, which we can do now, but we want to keep this model as is. So what we need to do is create a morph target for it so that we can always come back. So what I'm going to do is come down to morph targets down here on the tools menu, and I'm going to store a morph target like this. Now this literally means that we'll be able to pull back through it, and I'm going to create a layer as well, which I'm going to create new. This will record. We can name this layer metal or armor, and then hit enter, and that will basically record what I'm doing. So let's for instance grab the little brush here and come into this part of the body and just pull a little bit of it out like this, really wreck it up. Now I could press Ctrl Z and go back through it, but what if I did more, loads of stuff, really muck the model up, so really went to town creatively? I might like it like that, but if I don't, I can come back to my layer and I can simply reduce this down, and you'll notice that it will reduce back down to what it is before. Now this is really good because it means that I can overcompensate my armor and then bring it back down to fit back in with the body, and I can even go reverse and push it into the body. So this is a great little tool to use. I'm just going to bake this back as it is, and then we'll start the process again. So I'll create a new layer. Baking, by the way, will apply it and the layer will disappear. There will be certain options that will not be available while the layer recording mode is turned on. Our morph target has stored this original pattern, and we have it here. We can delete it, we can do it, and that will do pretty much the same thing. We can add stuff here, and then we can say, right, okay, I want to bring that back to what it was before, so 100% back to the morph, or you could minus it by adding to it, or you can leave it at that and it will be back to what it was. so that will do back. Or of course we could just press Ctrl Z a couple of times and that would do it. So I'm going to bring that back to what it was and delete the morph target and store a new one, and then we're going to go to our layer and create that. But actually, sorry, I'm going to delete that morph target at the moment because I want to show you about extracting the mesh, the other method that I was talking about, the method we're not going to use, but I just want to demo it to you so you can see what we're doing. Okay, right, the first thing I want to do is take my draw size down a bit, and I'm going to just press Control and just mask out a section. I better just turn this to freehand again. So we're going to just mask a section. Now say we had some armor plating on this leg area here. What we could do is mask it out and say, right, that's my armor plating, and I want it to run kind of onto the kneecap and come out like that. Now we can go up to here and we can set my thickness to maybe 0.3 or 0.2 even, and then I can just extract this, and automatically it's extracted it out of the underlying mesh. So I can come down here now, select this as a layer, and I could use my clipping tools to clip this all into shape. As I said to you before, it's a separate element. We want to keep the polygon count as low as possible, so having all these separate elements is not really going to help us. So if I move it, you can see this has got an inside as well as edges at the side and front, so there'll be a lot of extraneous polygons that will not be used in a games model. However, for full animation work where polygon count doesn't really matter, we might well want to go this route, and by building up lots of these plates over the top we can form the armor this way. So it's a very effective, but we're not going to use this method. We're going to try and assimilate it by using the deformation inflate and the masking tools directly on the model. So that's what we'll do next, but I just thought I'd show you that as another method of creating this kind of armoured effects, and this is used a lot in hard surface modelling, this technique. If you want to reduce the polygon count of these, because they're quite high, that's got 29,000 polys for such a small area, you probably would want to go in there and re-topologize it, which we haven't covered yet. But imagine armor in all these pieces. There could be hundreds of pieces in here, and it could be millions and millions of polygons, and 100 pieces, and you've got to re-topologize all of them. It's going to take you a long time. So in that case you might want to use the decimation master, which is up here, which will cut the polygon count down, and then maybe export them as a displacement map or a normal map, depending on if you've detailed them. So okay, in the next lesson we're going to start adding the armor.